Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, children of all sizes and ages. Welcome back to Cone Racing League, and I am pleased to say the GOAT has returned. I am back, CRL Freefall, coming at you live from sunny, not so sunny tonight, Scotland, and we are here for round 2 of Tier 2 in Cone Racing League's 12th season. Yes, round 2. What happened to round 1 last week? Well, I was outside of the country. And more surprisingly, my co-commentator was outside of his house. The one, the only, Glowstick is going to join me this season. Jack, first of all, how are you tonight, mate? And second of all, how was that grass last week?
Oh, it was lovely being outside for once. But yeah, I'm doing alright. I'm looking forward to the season.
Absolutely, it should be a cracker. We've got a good little grid here in Tier 2 this season. Some new faces, some familiar faces. And only 15 faces tonight, unfortunately. A few guys missing out. I'm just, bear with me a second, Mr. Booth. So he's just telling me sweet and good luck. Thanks for telling me that 5 minutes into the fucking street language. You can tell it's been a while. Anyway, last week we had the Austrian Grand Prix. One of the new little formats we're trying out this season. It was a guaranteed or a mandatory 2-stop. You don't do 2 pit stops, you don't get classified in the final results. Luckily, all our drivers managed to do it, and the one that came on top, I don't think... Oh yes, here tonight, in the Alpine, it is the little one, Ethan, as some of you longer standing guys will know it. The two brothers, Diddy and Danjo, lined up P2 and P3, with Harry Palmer getting P4. How did that happen? It's Jamie. No, it's not Jamie Morris, it's actually a decent fella. Finished in P5, love you, Jamie. King 5 Panda making his return in P6 ahead of Wes RS, a new face, picked up the fastest lap in the race as well, getting himself a nice little bonus point. KXI_72 changed his name for legal reasons to Caelan Bartlett. I hope I'm saying his second name right, I should have known him long enough. Dizzy, a reserve and a friend of Wes as well, he was in for us in P9 ahead of Real DC, Clipper, Azen, Cole Paradox, Tobes, Curly, Strauss, Wiban, Cavolis, AFL rounded off that 19-car grid. First on a lap though tonight though, Jack, it's Danjo OXO, last week's podium sitter. Do you want to ride on board with him and take us through a lap of the streets of Baku as he already rounds turn 1 and nearly 2?
Yes, coming around turn 2 now, opening up the DRS down this long straight where he'll reach speed about 200 maybe. Braking for turn 3 now. You want to clip that inside, get the car rotated through into turn 4 now, where we'll reach the sector 1 split. It's a 35-second first sector through turns 5 and 6 now. Down this straight where we go through turn 7, cut inside, get a nice exit through the famous castle section where we've seen crashes happening before, more famously Charles Leclerc in qualifying. Now, turn 13, where Ericsson hit Grosjean, allegedly. Turn 14, and now turn 15. Down this straight, he loses the back end a little bit, but it's still good. Now through turn 16, and this right kink of 17. And now 18, 19, and around the final corner, which is this kink here of turn 20, and you just power to the line, open up the DRS now, use an overtake, to the line. What's it going to be for Danjo? It's a 39.4.
Decent first lap on the board, 39.4. Apologise, you might have got a little bit of a blockage halfway through that. I was just adjusting the volume, so hopefully everything sounds nice and level for you all at home. Cole Paradox in with a 40.228. I'm expecting Jack to get times down into them 38s, definitely. Little one, last week's pole sitter only imagined a 40.528. I'm on board with the real DC. Now, I'll let you into a little fun fact. Me and DC have known each other for a while as Agast Alloy. Does join brings us, no it doesn't, he was already in. Tobes with a 39.7, Pink Pie Panda with a 39.7, and Diddy with a 39.9. More times flying in, we'll come back to them. But Neil DC, he was giving me some jip last night, because a couple of months ago I did 2 laps in TT for Azerbaijan for another league, and he beat my time. and apparently he thinks it's a speed demon now. So what can the speed demon, with absolutely 0 on top of his head, put in tonight on his first flying lap? 200 miles an hour, creeping up to 204, can't quite get to 205. It's a 40 point for you. All talk, no motion, Jack. All talk, no motion, pal.
Nope. And I'm pretty sure he's a ginger, like myself. But
Just had to call him out, eh?
Aizen has just started his lap, coming through turn 2 now, where he'll find DC on here and say, see you later, pal. Coming through turn 3 now. The Aston Martin driver. Was he racing last week? I don't know if you said or not, I can't remember.
I don't believe so, no. Aizen did, sorry. He finished P12, so picked himself up a solitary point for his troubles. So is making his second debut for the season, you could say. Aizen's been around for a while here. Back to the old ISRL days, I think he came through as he absolutely sends it through the castle. I love to see that little wick of the back end there. I've just realised as well, we can see he's in hot lap. This is the first time I've done comms in this game, Jack. You wouldn't have tell you the way we're going on. Anyway, Aizen then, sorry to interrupt as well, I'll just step in and take over, that's it, my 40. Down then towards turn number 16 he goes. Of course, it used to be a DRS detection zone there years ago, Jack, I believe. It's now right at the final kink, so it does make that strategic battle through these little bends and through that last part, and I suppose we'll come on to that, but setup is key round here, because you need downforce, there's 90-degree corners, but you need straight line speed, because you're hitting 200 miles an hour and somebody's got the slipstream, and they can get there you go, Aizen getting up to 209, we've seen Dan barely getting up to 205, that tells you a lot about the setup differences there. 140.8 from the Czech, I do believe. Apologies, Aizen, if that is wrong. Speaking of Czech, let's check in on Kavolis, the only Lithuanian driver I do believe to ever drive in CRL. He's coming up to the line for what looks to be a pretty steady, convenient lap here. 40.194. I'm just checking through my notes here. Did Kavolis race last week? He did, unfortunately. No, he didn't, sorry. He did. He finished P18. Well, he's improving because he's in P6 at the moment. Aghast Alloy. Do you know anything about this guy, Jack?
No, I do not. I think he's making his second appearance in CRL. I don't think I've seen him before.
No. He didn't even race last week. This is his debut.
Is it his debut? Did he not race it?
He did not race last week.
So,
debut. Welcome to CRL, Aghast Alloy. I have no idea who you are, but you're a friend of us now. Well, you won't be friends with, I believe that is either Wuban or Kavolis. It is Wuban.
That is Wuban.
5 place grid.
Oh.
Look! Come on, son. I don't know if that was a bit of rage crashing. That might be investigated after the race. But 5 place grid penalty for Wuban. Currently P12. He's going to start last. And Aghast Alloy is going to have to return to the pits and go again. Speaking of going again, he's here with his third incarnation of a name. It's Kalen Bartlett. It's a bit better than KXI because Jamie used to always get mixed up and call him KSI. I think apart from being English, there's not much in common there. One of them is a pretty cool good that goes, and the other guy is KSI. Anyway, through turn 15, I had to watch what I said there. I nearly said something about music or something about, public discourse, and we don't want to start that in this party, do we, Jack? Yeah. But through the little left-right kinks here, this is a famous part of CRL history, this track. This is where the big Dickus moment happened, Jack. I don't know if you were around. Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
This is the site of my 4th ever race in CRL, where I got high off my diabetes and donuts and shouted some obscene things at Mr. 4-Star, who's of course going to be racing him, hopefully racing him first night in Tier 1. Kalen Bartlett then, Bartlett's Albert Chicken, going P10 in the Mercedes. That doesn't even make sense, does it? You can tell it's been a while, eh? We're just having fun, mate, Jack.
Yeah, we're just having a bit of fun. Unlike KSI, Kalen won't be getting a golden buzzer for that, lap, unfortunately. Yeah, it's P10, top 10 so far. I think he can do a bit better though.
Yeah. I expect to
think
see him
Dan,
up there with Diddy and Co.
yeah, I think Danjo might be on another lap, his second lap of qualifying, going down the straight to turn 3.
Yeah, definitely looks to
See
be
how
in
he's
there.
going. Ooh, a little bit of a slide for turn 3, and now turn 4, getting on the power. Is he improving? He is, by a tenth through the first sector. Now coming to the straight to turn 5. Or not turn 5, sorry, turn 7.
We're a bit far on the lap for turn 5, pal.
Yeah, and now castle section where we saw Wuban get in the way of a gas oil alloy. And now again turn 13, and he's invalid. And Tobes is going quickest so far.
Tobes setting down the benchmark there, a 39.359. Very solid lap. What can Diddy reply? Can he diddle in a good little lap? We'll have to... I'm trying to think of a pee joke, but there's no really one there. Anyway, let's get oiled up and ride on board with Diddy as he goes down then to turn number 3. The third of, I believe 5 or 6 90-degree turns. There's number 4, trying to just balance it out of the wall. He is in non-ERS deployment, so maybe, yeah, he has pulled out of the lap. 2 seconds down. I'm talking absolute nonsense here. Let's get on board then with Cold Paradox. He's coming to the end of the lap. He's been about in this league for a number of years. Raced in Tier 1 last season. Struggled a little bit at times, he won't mind me saying. But he does go in with a 39.937. One of the 2 Flying Dutchmen. My favourite power couple in CRL. Of course, Strauss not here tonight. Little one, last week's pole sitter, coming through into the last sector now. Turns 18, 19, 20, which, let's be real, they're not really turns. He's got a lot of battery left on deployment here, so definitely, I don't know, maybe underutilised it. It's that balancing act, because once you're under 10%, you lose a lot of top-end speed here, but you want to keep a lot for the end of this lap. He is burning like there's no tomorrow. Does improve by 1/10.5, but can't sneak into the 39. Now, I don't know about you, Jack. I'm getting the vibe going by some of these qualifying times. They're a little bit higher than I expected, and that's no disrespect to the guys. That maybe says to me we're seeing some low downforce setups here, more tailored for the race, trying to get the overtakes done.
Yeah, definitely looks like they're kind of focusing more on the speed instead of corners. But maybe someone is doing higher downforce compared to most and focusing on corners, because there is a lot of corners, but there's also a lot of straights, so it's kind of, as you were saying earlier, it's kind of a balancing act where you need to find good speed, but you also need to have quite good downforce so you don't spin it into a wall or something.
Yeah, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there, mate. You need that top end speed, because if not, you're just going to get swamped every time, particularly if you are out of the DRS. Agast Ally, by the way, I don't know if that's still the same glitch. Has Codemasters fixed it, or EA, or whoever builds this game now? Purple Sector 2, that might just be the glitch, but let's see if we can put in a solid lap. But yeah, you need that top end speed for the race, especially if you lose track to that car in front, because you'll just be swamped and lost. It's no good being quick in the corners, because there's not much room in them corners to make a move. It's not like Silverstone or Austria. Agastali though, I nearly said that wrong. I think I just about said that right. A 40.317, not bad for a banker when we consider his first lap was well and truly royally rumbled. Club PR coming into the pits. Real DC, is he on a lap? No, he is not. Cavalis is not. King 5 Panda, I'm not sure if he's on. He is overtake, but he was also in medium, so I don't know if maybe just a different strategy, maybe not wanting to use the hot lap, using that medium just to balance it and maybe get a bit more traction out the corners. We have heard drivers doing that, of course, and if anybody knows, I'm grateful to hear what the best way to use your ERS is, because I still don't have a clue. He is coming into the pits now, though, backing out of that lap. And drivers doing what they do best, make me look like an absolute idiot, although it isn't a hard task. Caitlin Bartlett, though. Bartlett's Albert Potatoes. That's the one, not chickens. That's the one I was thinking of. He is on a lap, Jack, coming through the end of the first sector now.
Yes, is he improving? He's improving by 0.3. So currently that'll put him ahead of Agast Alloy. I don't know, his name is quite difficult to say, because I don't know.
Can we call him Agast Ahoy and just pretend he's a sailor?
He could.
I don't think he'll have anything against it.
Chips Ahoy, no, Gas Ahoy. That's what we're gonna.
Keelan Bartlett potatoes and Chips Ahoy. Oh, haven't you missed this, folks? Haven't you missed having me and Jack on your screens every Monday night?
Yeah. No, we're coming up to the Sector 2 split. Bartlett, what's he gonna do? Is he improving? He's improving by 8/10, and it says purple. But I wouldn't believe that because it is Code Masters and EA. Now coming through 19 and turn 20, the final corner, and opening up DRS. He's ran out of ERS. What's it going to be for Kalen? It's second.
P2. Better deployment of the ERS that lap, it would suggest. 8/10 up on the first two sectors, and then finding a lot of time in that last. I think that's going to be his last run though. 2 minutes left on the clock here in qualifying session, of course. Those that maybe are new, if you're new to league racing, thank you. We need more yous. 15, I can't even get the facts right. 18-minute qualifying, followed by then a 50% of the full race distance, which tonight I believe, Jack, is 26 laps. Or 27. One of the two. Jamie Morris in the house. Danjo about to start a lap on the run down to turn 1 then. Could he take pole away from Tobes? A little bit of background, by the way. Tobes has been deleting his TT the last few days to try and hide his pace, so who knows what he'll have in the tank. Let's ride on board then with Danjo once more through turn 1 then, the first of many right angle 90-degree corners. Over turn 2, riding a little bit of the curb, but obviously got the setup tuned in. You can hit it wrong and it'll just bounce you clean into that wall on the outside. First of the DRS zones. I'm going to class the last DRS zone as the one to start finish. Yes, you do start and end, and that looked like a crunch in the wall to me. We'll see if he does keep going, however. Maybe a little bit of compromise with the wing, a bit of speed. End of the first sector then. Quarter of a second up. So even maybe if that was a crunch in the wall, we're maybe still alright here for Danjo. Of course, another brother pairing in the league, himself and Diddy. I believe Danjo the younger of the two, but definitely showing some pace. Into the castle section. Is he going to be stupid? Oh, very close to it. Keeps it just out of the wall. Through up the hill then now. And a run back down through these bends that they're not really bends. They're not really turns, but they are fun to go side by side with in the race, I tell you. 15 then. Another slightly tricky left-hand 90-degree. You've got to watch with that curb on the inside. Another one of them killer curbs here. 3.5 tenths up then. Would see him just about creep into the low 39s. Can he get a couple of tims here? He's got 70% of the ERS left. Burning like... I'll come back to that one. Burning like something in the wood. I don't know. Burning like the Galloway Forest. There you go. There's a topical one for us, Jack. Anyway, up to the line goes Danjo. 39 flat. Provisional pole. Plenty of cars still to come though, Jack.
Yes, plenty of cars to go. I was hoping to see them creep into the 38s though, the low 38s, or the high 38s even. Clark has just finished his lap, he's in 8th. Coldpar is coming to the line. Is he improving? No, he's in the pits, unfortunately. We've got King Fi Panda behind him. What's he going to do? He's going to stay 4th, but he improves by 2 temps. Wes stays 5th. Aizen is coming into the pits. Little One improves to 6th. Diddy coming across the final sector now, opening up the DRS. What's it going to be for Diddy? It's looking like a good lap. It's second for Diddy.
5
by a couple, 5 thousandths.
Nothing to
and last
separate
one,
them.
Cavalis.
Not the last one. Toby Tobes, Mr. Man, hiding his time trial. Is he improved enough? Nope, he lost 7 tenths. So it's a 1-2 brother Haru. The OX brothers, we could call them here, I suppose. Danjo and Diddy. 39.012, 39.017. Sparks could fly in the Diddy Danjo household tonight, folks. If that kind of pace. I wonder if they're using the same setup. That to me suggests they might just be. Tobes then is going to be P3. Solid pace does our Tobes. not known to really make many mistakes in the race. So we'll see if it plays out for them. Caelan Bartlett, though, I didn't really even see that happen. Up into P number 4, ahead of King 5 Panda. Wes RS sees himself jump on to P6. The little one, Cabolas, Cole Paradox, Real DC, Clipper, Azen, Agast Ally, Wuban, and It's Jamie round off the grid. I'd just like to say a shout out as well. I've just seen the chat. Dragon on Speed, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you there. But yeah, that's qualifying done, Jack. Now it's down to the business end. It's race time.
It's race time and it's dry.
Blue skies. For now. Of course, rain, definitely a possibility around Baku. 26 laps around this iconic street circuit, of course, first held in 2017. It's about 3.67 miles long, give or take. So there is plenty of time in this race for rain to appear. But at the moment, we're looking all right. I think our bigger worry, though, is safety cars. Of course, we've seen how close them walls are. We've seen a collision that I'm amazed didn't end in a DNF. I know Wiban obviously ended up in the wall afterwards, but I'm surprised that there wasn't actually a DNF from that. We could see some of them tonight. Of course, 15 cars on the grid, so only at 3/4 capacity. That's 75% for you percentile numbers out there. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but it's definitely an opportunity. Strategy then, I mean, if it's me, it's the go-to, innit, Jack? It's the medium hards. The hards a very good tyre around here, I'm led to believe.
I believe so, yes. But some people might want to do hard medium. If they're starting at the back, go longer, try and overcut, because why not? But obviously, Ruban's got that 5 place grid penalty, so he will start from the back. As the formation lap is starting, will we see contact during the race between the two brothers, Danjo and Diddy? Find out in 2 or 3 minutes, since this is the second longest track on the calendar, that behind Spa.
I'm just wondering, should I have telemetry on or not? Because the ERS management in this game is such a big part. You could have some little snipers toning in, or do we want to see what the speeds are, what the ERS is? We'll leave it up to chat. Chat, what are you saying? There's 7 E's there, somebody give me an answer. Anyway, let's look at the strategy then. Danjo and Diddy, will sparks fly in the capital of Baku of Azerbaijan? We'll see. It could get interesting though. Tobe starting in P3 on the softs. Is he gambling on an early safety car? Or maybe just a big undercut? Get on them good hards and run them long and try and just overcut, and then you've got track position for a later safety car. We'll wait and see. Caelan Bartlett then on the mediums, and then the next 7 or so cars. King 5 Panda, Wes, Little One Cabolas, Cole Paradox and Real DC on the hards. Cole Paradox doing what he does best and follows Tobes. He is a little bit further back down the grid, however, but on the softs with a lash of hard runners in front of him could give some overtaking opportunities. Azen then P12 on the hards, Agast Alloy on the mediums, and Jamie and Wuban rounding off the grid on the hard tyres. So sparks could definitely fly here, Jack. A soft runner in P3, 2 front runners separated by 5 thousandths in qualifying. The loose cannon, that is KXI in P4 on the mediums. You can see what I mean by the gap he's left on this formation lap. Hope the stewards don't look at that. Cole Paradox, you could be in a similar situation, but I'm not a grass. I won't tell. But it should be an interesting start to what is, I believe, 26. I was trying to look it up there. I don't know if you could tell. Yeah, it's because the real race is 51 laps, so it must be 26. We always round up here. As Caelan having a little bit of a pirouette there, putting on a show for us. He's lucky that damage doesn't apply from the formation lap.
Yeah. But waiting for Wuban to round out the grid, and then we can get absolutely boogity going.
Oh, I like that. That's the kind of energy I like. A bit of boogity boo. Boogity boo in Baku, baby. Well, let's get the show on the road. DRS is disabled, of course. We don't care about that. All we care about is the 5 red lights. Lights out And away we go, and I've got a terrible camera angle. What is this, Codemasters? Why am I looking from down there? Tobes getting a decent start. Danjo defending against his brother. King Fi Panda and Wes swapping positions. Bit of squabble down the back of the pack there as a Mercedes dives down the inside. That looked to be real DC getting a move on there. And, well, I don't think it's quite worked out for him. But I think, Jack, for the most part, we are clean, we are free. As Kaelin Bartlett having a little look down the inside of Tobes into turn number 3. That is going to turn to the outside, and in fact, it's going to cut itself off already. Through the first stages of the Grand Prix, no incidents from what I can see, or nothing major. Everybody's still in the race. This is a good sign. Let's kick on. 26 laps. Give us some racing, boys.
Yeah, cleanish start, no contact as Clerpiar going down the inside of Cavalis there for turn 7. They're going sideways out for castle section. Clerpiar backs off. Smart decision. There's still 25 laps left, 26 laps left. As Kaelin has lost it coming out of turn 12. He's lost a couple positions there to, I think he's ahead of Kim Fi Panda, so he's lost positions to Panda and Waze. So that's a bit unlucky, but as I said, still 26 laps. Can recover that.
Absolutely, plenty of time. He was looking racy on the back of Tobes, who, speaking of the back, almost, is that commentary curse? I don't know. That was, I don't know if that was dirty air or if that was what was going on, but swinging it out into the wall. I'm surprised he didn't get damage of it. It's kind of hard to get an angle on this. Codemasters, fix the camera angles on this track, please. It doesn't look to have got damage. Although he is all over the place, and, well, is that commentator's curse? I don't know. Tobes then having I can't think of a spinning action that starts with a T, but having a tumble, there we go, down at the order into P15 he goes, and I'm assuming, Jack, there's a bit of damage on the front of that car.
It doesn't look it, actually. It looks pretty clean, surprisingly. So I don't think he's gotten any damage, luckily. He's a very lucky boy there. I've gotten away with that.
Do me a favour, have a tactical check of the settings.
Tactical check of the settings.
Make sure it's on the reduce standard, please. I'm just getting this worry after, you know. I mean, it must be because Wuban crashed out, but I'm just getting this light little worry. Is there something up with the settings why we're not getting damaged? Because that's 2 big hits with the wall Tobes has had. Unless it just isn't showing through on the camera.
What's it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be reduced standard.
It's reduced.
Cold paradox. Right, well, it's not a major issue, right? So that's why. Naughty boy, Mick, I'll be having words with you after the race. So there you go. Less chance of a safety car then, folks, which may play into the hands of some people who haven't underfueled. Kaelin taking a really aggressive approach through them bends there. But, yeah, we'll wait and see. Diddy and Danjo then going side by side into turn 1. You can get a bit smashy, boys. There's less chance of any kind of crashing happening. And Diddy does get the move with the DRS assist. Little one doing something similar to Kaelin Bartlett. And DC doing something similar to Wuban. Tobes then very far adrift down at the back of the pack. Has got some long hard work to do ahead of him tonight. Danjo then getting DRS back down towards turn at number 3, but isn't quite able to make the move on Diddy. Apart from that, we're kind of settling into a little run. There is this nice little battle going on in the mid-pack as Agast Alloy is round on the exit of turn 3, Jack. But this little battle here on the midfield, kind of from Wes almost down to Clerpiar. A nice little tray in the front to breaking free, but come on, boys, let's see some squabbles. Somebody send it. In a nice way, though. In a nice way. Like, no bad things.
Exactly. Send it and then send them a nice gift with something alcohol-wise, maybe, if they're of age.
Send it with a lighter way of kissing it if they're of age as well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Alloy got a bit of damage from that spinneroonie, so that's unfortunate. But
I mean, in the nicest way to Tobes, that is absolutely wild that Agast has got damage from that. And we've seen Tobes absolutely send it into a wall twice, and he somehow has survived. Surviving though is King Fi Panda surviving in the DRS of Wes. It's very, very touch and go. I think he's just about. Ooh, it's on the edge here. We'll have to wait and see. Is the rear wing of that Aston Martin going to open up? I don't think it is. And this is going to leave Little One licking his chops as Danjo passes for the lead once more. Little One putting in the fastest lap. The Aston did not have DRS. And Wes, if he can play his cards right, although something happening there with Little One and exit, he can just sort of saunter off into the distance and maybe, just maybe, make a reach for that front two. Diddy and Danjo playing the age-old game of let's swap positions and pull away from everybody. We've seen that plenty of times around here. But the mid-pack, it's the age-old DRS train, isn't it, Jack? We've seen it loads of times. If you're at the front, it's easy to swap positions. If you're in P3 downwards, good luck.
Yes, but it seems Wes is actually doing a pretty good job. He's kind of slowly clawing his way back to Diddy in front of him in the sister Red Bull team. Quite actually realistic, where you have one Red Bull at front and one Red Bull at back. So
topical commentary. Don't tell us we don't give you everything here, folks.
Exactly. But Little One getting close to the back of Panda there, making his return back to CRL after winning, was it season 9, as a guest alloy has hit Alt F4 unfortunately and closed his game.
He did disconnect during quali, so I wonder if that is just a simple connection issue. Dizzy and Danjo, I'm not going to watch that one. I want to watch these two because they've been a little bit feisty so far. It is of course the Little One and King Fi Panda. Diddy, you can just see in the distance. Oh, it's getting very tasty behind. Cool Paradox having a little look up the inside of Kaelin Bartlett as Little One gets up the inside of King Fi Panda. Cabal is sneaking in there on the exit of turn 1, sends it into turn 2. Kaelin down into P4 from what was a very promising start, looking to challenge for P3, even with Tobes' demise, although he looks to be burning more than a wood chopper in the forest. Collision into the wall. Damage. You always knew something like that was going to happen at some point in this race. Club PR then sneaking through, and amazingly, I think they've been saved by this reduced damage here. I'm not going to lie, lads. It doesn't look to be any damage. It could be very like light green, yellowy damage, but
yeah, possibly.
I mean, whoever's doing the Thursday night session, whoever's hosting Tier 1, I think it's Boompy, maybe you make the same mistake as this. Actually don't, that's the only chance I've got a point if people crash out. Anyway, back to the front then, Jack. We haven't really spoke about them. They've been swatting back. Well, we have spoke about them, but I've not given them much airtime. They've been swatting back and forward more than... let's see, I haven't got these things teed up yet. Get me to round 6 and I'll have them on a flip and I'll just be able to, you know, because I need to be age appropriate. I need to be sponsorship appropriate in case, you know, anybody wants to pay us to do this. Anyway, Danjo getting the run, then he is going to have DRS now open on the McLaren. What a beautiful angle that is. Moves to the left, says thanks for the pass, moves back over to the right to get the optimal entry angle. But Wes holding in there at that 1.3. King Fi Panda swapping with Little One again. Cavalis swapping with Kaelin Bartlett. And Club PR hot on his heels as Kaelin running wide through turn 1. A little collection with the wall. Again getting lucky as Jamie goes down the inside of the 2. I haven't seen something fall this fast since... again, I'll come back to me. I'll get one. But Kaelin losing positions left, right and centre. Back down into P10 with his little battle with Jamie, not quite over. Doesn't manage to put anybody in the wall this time. Allegedly, of course. We haven't seen sure, but it could have been anybody's fault. Yeah. Anyway, King Fi Panda right in the back of Little One. These two are going to duke it out, but all that's doing is losing time to the cars in front. In the top 3, Jack, they look kind of settled in their own ways. Almost creeping into the old DRS here. In fact, he is.
Yeah, he's managed to catch up with the brothers, which is good because we want to see more battles. We like seeing close battles. So currently it's little Three Musketeers at the front, and I was going to say King Fai Panda was on the back of Little One, but Little One's pulled away this lap, so doing good there. I think he's like season 8, season 9 champion, I think, Ethan, Little One. I commentated
so, yeah.
on the race. He won the championship back in Jeddah. Did a good race. He won because of Harry Palmer winning. What are the odds? But here comes it's Jamie. As I think that's Clark in the pits. Yes, it is. And Jamie up to 8th.
The first of the cars to pull the trigger. We'll keep an eye on that and see what Clark Park goes on to. Diddy then closing up the Danjo, not making the move. I mean, these two can kind of almost hold position and defend. We'll see if they do that or if they invite the freeway scrap. Cold Paradox on the gearbox of King Phi Panda. Cold Pat, or Mick as we know him, your host who got the settings wrong. We're not gonna mention that though, are we? He's always struck me as a driver you can discount a little bit in qualifying, but once the race he comes alive, and we're seeing that here. He's, I believe, positions-wise, if I can get the right. Oh, you can tell it's been a while. He's up 3 positions here, as is Wes, Little One. It's Jamie though, climbing up a massively impressive 6, and of course Tobes down at that 10. Caelan Bartlett down at that 5. Most of them a couple here, a couple there. Danjo, Diddy and King Phi Panda though holding position from where they started. Tyres then, it's the mediums for Clark PR. 20-ish, 21 laps, 19 laps. Yeah, 19 laps, there we go, quick maths. On the mediums. It seems a little bit of a stretch to me, I'll be honest. Is this a 2-stop strategy, or is this I'm just going to try and undercut everybody so much that it doesn't even matter because I'm so fast in a straight line, who cares about the corners, you're not going to get past me. We'll wait and see on that. Diddy then right to the rear of Danjo, not quite making the move. West though within half a second, and Danjo going defensive now into turn to the RB, trying to go round the outside. Did Danjo cut the curb there a little touch? I didn't quite catch the angle, might have done so. Wes though hunting them down like a rabid dog, just sniffing about here, waiting for a chance. He's not going to rush into anything. He's not going to jeopardise his own race for the sake of a bit of a rash move, as our second pit of the night in the form of Tobes is now in the pits. Onto the hards. That seems like a bit more viable strategy than Clark PR mediums. Time will tell on that, of course. And now, Jack, we get to this unique part of the Grand Prix, which we often see around Baku, where the DRS train splits up a little bit. You normally see it. It obviously doesn't help that we're only at three quarters of capacity, but a lot of 1, a lot of 3, a lot of these second gaps, of course, that's aided by people pitting. We get to a quiet bit. We've got 3 battling up front, we've got 3 battling in the midfield, and apart from that, it's pretty chill.
Yeah, pretty chill part of the race where people are in their own little world and now maybe battling 1 or 2 people. But yeah, like quite we are picking the mediums, that's going to be a bit of a stretch. As George Russell said in yesterday's race, it's a bit audacious on the mediums for them that amount of time. But maybe he's hoping for a safety car as Diddy gets past Danjo for the lead once again. Was just kind of waiting for an opportunity if they make contact or have an incident, maybe. Yeah, it's a bit audacious, and from Clark going on to the mediums instead of maybe like the hards, but maybe he doesn't trust the hards. Maybe they're going to be a bit slow.
It's maybe, yeah. I mean, the hards are generally good tyre, but you have to get them in range. They can take a while to nip in, and around a track like this. And speaking of nipping in, Cavalis has looked to have nipped into the wall, or at least nipped in for a spin. So 3 becomes 4 then in the midfield pack. Slots right in between Jamie and Aizen. Just lucky none of them losing time. Tobes getting past Agast Alloy, who I don't think is rejoined. Sadly, this is the only. This is one of the downsides of
DC having a spin out of turn out of turn 6. No damage. But Cavalis may have lost a couple of positions, but he's also lost his right end plate. Unfortunately, he's lost his right front end plate there.
So he has. So a little bit of performance issues for Cavalis, and this is the issue of starting on the hards, I suppose. Yes, it can be a great strategy. You can go run long, but any damage like this, if you choose to pit, you've got a choice now. You run out with the damage, you take the hit with performance, and maybe hope for a safety car or hope for something to bring back that time you're going to lose, changing it, and that time you're going to lose having the damage, or you gamble on it, you pit, you repair it. Wes out of the Grand Prix. Speaking of safety cars,
the first one of the night.
That's an interesting one. I'm a bit disappointed I've never seen that, to see how did that happen. Let's get on board with Jamie in the right hand side. The car just despawned, but it's where that little bit of wall juts out. I wonder if was there a side by side action there, and was there maybe a little squeeze into the wall, or was it just the good old fashioned whoops, I've spun coming out of the corner?
No. So what was happening was, I think he got a little bit of dirty air from Diddy in front, and he went wide, hit that wall on the outside, the one that juts out, and yeah, just tire came off.
It feels really inconsistent tonight, the damage, Jack. I don't know about you. I love Tobes. Got a lot of time for the guy. How he's still in this Grand Prix, I don't know. And then, by the sounds of it, quite a minor tap. And one of our top front three is, well...
No, it was quite a heavy hit, to be fair. Like, he did come into that wall pretty quickly.
Just the angle as well, maybe not helping things.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. This spices up the strategy. Anyway, Kaelin Bartlett, looking in a very strong position, of course, starting on those mediums. Hards now to the end, they are going to be... Yeah, they're going to take some laps to bed in, but they're a decent tyre once you get them going. If he can just be patient with it, let the chances come that they will. You know, it's not going to be... The first few laps are going to be a bit treacherous for you. You're going to have mediums all around, but pretty much everybody behind him that's pit went onto fresh mediums. 16 laps. By the time we get racing, 14. Yeah, it's roughly about what you'd want to do under a racing normal situation. And then the front 8, or the front 7, sorry, all on the hards. I'd be surprised if we don't see yellow striped mediums going on. That is the case for Danjo. It is the case for Diddy.
Jamie stays out.
Interesting. 10 lap old hards. It's going to come out. Oh, this is... You are licking your chops if your name is Diddy or Danjo, because you've got a 10 lap old hard runner separating you from the rest of the grid, and some quick drivers, it must be said. Little One, King 5 Panda, Kaelin and Cold Paradox, not ones to be sniffed at, although Kaelin just misses out to Cold Paradox on the pit exit. That's a lovely thing of his pit crew. But a spicy little grid then, Jack. We've got pretty much everybody on the mediums. Agast Alloy we can discount for now. I believe is in AI mode still. Although he could be back in. He's back. Good. I like to see that. On the hards, that's a great strategy call from him. If it was him or the AI, I don't know, but somebody's picked right. The rest of the field on mediums, apart from P3, it's Jamie, who, just so funnily enough, happens to have his teammate in front of him, who he can maybe defend, like the elves at Gondor. I don't know if that's the right reference. Anybody know Lord of the Rings, Jack? No?
No.
Something about Gondor.
Although I may look like a hobbit, I'm not one. So.
I've just got the hairy feet of one, mate, don't worry about it. Okay. But there's a reference in there somewhere, I'm sure 4-star will correct me. Probably. He's probably sitting listening right now. Hopefully he is. Anyway, enough rambling on of a madman that I am. Yeah, Jamie, can he do his teammate a little hand? Try and defend, try and hold up the pack and make it a 1v1 between the McLaren and the RB? Or is he going to run his own race and think, I've still got life in these hards, I can still eke these out, and then when the safety car comes out, maybe in, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 laps, is there a chance that I can get on and just jump myself up? Remember, I did start, qualified last, started second to last because of Ruban's 5-place grid penalty. So we'll wait and see on that. I'm going to turn the telemetry on very quickly though, and just have a little flick through and see, has anybody got a fuel icon? They've saved fuel over this last lap, of course. So no yellow.
Did have one.
Yeah, I did notice Kaelin had that. Was pretty much the only reason I checked. I'll give you a little fun fact. Kaelin reserved on Thursday night last week, in Tier 1's race. And in a race that had 0 safety cars, 0 virtual safety cars, I did have one virtual. No, it never had anything at all. He started 2 laps under. So we know he's aggressive on the fuel strategy. He's obviously went for that tonight, predicting that Bert Maylander in that lovely Aston Martin would make an appearance. And he's got that prediction right, it would seem. I didn't see anybody else that went too bold with it. He was yellow flashing, which to me means I think that like you're pretty much like within half a lap or something, or you're half a litre, something silly like that. But it's a good sign. We're not going to see a repeat of Canada last season in Tier 2, where half the grid ran out of fuel before we got to the finish line. It's a good sign. It's only a good thing. I've just had a text of a potential reserve who's just said they're just back in from dinner, so... Yeah. That was wee Cammy for all that's coming. Wee Cammy could be making his return to racing. I'm trying my best. I'm trying with a few others. Trying to get more ease in. If you're sitting there watching, if you happen to be new, and you're thinking, what is this? Well, Cone Racing League's been a little organisation founded by 3 fellas, one of them here, Real DC, a number of years ago, and a couple of times a week, 20 or so of us get together and have our own little race. Points, sometimes prizes, mostly just banter, and it's all good fun. So, if you do happen to be listening, which I'll be very surprised if there isn't anybody who doesn't know what league racing is or doesn't know who CRL is listening, feel free to get in touch. That's my sponsorship. That's my advertising done for the day, Jack. That's my head admin duties done, eh?
Yeah, just also flash up on screen your engineering certificate. Maybe that'll get some engineers in. It's like, ooh! Engineer, but safety car is in this lap. It's going to be racing to the line unless we get a safety car, which I think Jamie is hoping for at this point of the race.
Yeah, he's got the really, maybe in anywhere after 3 laps, because it's got to be enough to make everybody else go, we need to pit as well. But it can't be, it can't be that soon that nothing happens. So we'll wait and see how it goes. Fun fact, my favourite engineer is 12 Team Liam. There's a little reference for the long-standing members. I don't know if we're still going to get the glitches with the safety car flashing up on the stream, but it looks like Danjo hasn't any glitches on his safety car restart. We are racing once again in Baku, just as we approach the halfway mark. Is that little one having a send on its Jamie? He's thinking about it, side by side. Going to get the move into turn 2 then, is little one. Yes, he does, and that just shows you the difference in compounds, the difference in tyre grip and life, as Go Paradox. Little Mick. I was bigging him up. I was giving him so much, and he goes and does that. I mean, that's worse than Dan. Sad to see Mick. Plenty of time though. Back in the race, son. Back in the race. Anyway, further up front, Diddy hanging on to the back of Danjo, but Jamie maybe done the job here. Maybe not. It's hovering over the edge. Maybe just done enough to break that DRS, and that lets the front 2 get away. Little one on the cusp, and he's an experienced enough driver. Done plenty of these races, and like you say, won a championship. He knows he's going to have the push here and bring that 1 second down to 1.2. Of course, no DRS this lap. It will start next lap, so I believe our first blast will be down in towards turn 3, but that gap up to 1.4. Jamie might have done his job here for his teammate, and might have done it pretty damn well. Holding off who he needed to hold off in a very, very unassuming way, you could say. He never caused a fuss, never caused no drama, and somebody who's been causing drama and needs to get a foot down before there's more drama here. 1.2 adrift, Kaelin Bartlett, losing a little bit of touch of King Phi Panda. We saw him come together with Cavolis. 2 drivers down, it's Cavolis, and without DRS, he could be a very, very easy target. Jamie then falling down to P5, and little one crucially out of that DRS here, Jack, as more cars are switching place, and I can count.
Yeah, I think little one, compared to the brothers up front, I think he's quicker in the straights. It seems to be time gaining on the straights compared to corners. Obviously, he hasn't really gained anything on this straight since his, you know, the guy in front, Diddy, has got DRS. But also, it could be a tire warming issue where he's just kind of settling in, trying to find a groove, and he's found that groove now since he's only 8 and a bit temps off him in front. So let's see if little one can stick with these front two. And also King Fly Panda is up to 4th, so he'll be wanting to get into the DRS range of little one as well.
Just looking as well, Jamie could have a crucial role to play in this Grand Prix. Maybe not for himself, maybe not for his teammate, but maybe for the likes of Kalen and co. If he can keep... I was thinking, you know, there, Panda's getting into Little One's DRS, that brings him into the front fight. If Jamie could hang in there, even push back up there, of course it's all for his race as well. A safety car later on could be massive for himself, but could you put that little bridge, because if you take away the gap from what you've seen...
Dandruff, he had the outside wall coming in for turn 19. Or turn 18. No, 19. Turn 19.
Car looks to be intact, but could this maybe give Little One the run? Not quite. Ooh, that... Ooh. I don't know if there was anything wrong with that. That might be... In the moment, if I was racing, I would maybe say, is that moving under braking? Might see a report for that. Tobes getting past Klipper further down. Klipper getting past DC further down. I think DC's had a little moment.
DC.
He's had a disconnect from the traction. Little One, though, something must have happened there. As soon as I flicked away, seems to have lost a little bit of time. 1.2 the gap, but he did break it back up through this middle sector the last time. Maybe try and do it again. But the gap then, about 3.3 seconds from Kalen to the front door pack. It is!
That's raining!
Oh Lord, it's coming. What did I say, Jack? Plenty of time for the rain to change. Now things get spicy. This is why Jamie stayed out.
Yes.
Now,
he's smart.
Jamie, that's why...
DC did have a DC.
He did have a DC. Now this is where it gets tricky for Jamie, of course. He's on what's going to be arguably the worst performing tyres on track right now. Let's be real. 14 lap old hards, about to be 15, in greasy conditions. If he can keep that car planted, keep it steady, and get the strategy call right, when do you go into the inters? This could be an absolute driver of the day performance from what was essentially last on the grid, the back row of the grid. We'll wait and see. Danjo then going to get the run and get back up into P1, it seems. Just about edging through. King 5 Panda is going to tie up to the back of Little One, but not quite make the move. Kalen doesn't have DRS. Cavalis does, though, moving to the left, looking for that inside run into turn numero uno. Gets the move done. Thanks for coming, chaps. Kalen having to settle in behind. Aizen lurking in the background, as is Tobes, who's on a little bit of recovery drive. He has got 1.7 seconds. Of course, that 1 second gap, as soon as we go inters, ain't going to mean a thing. DRS should be disabled fairly soon. I would be very surprised if it's not. Club then trying to have a look. In fact, not even trying, just having a look on Cole. Paradox, of course. A few drivers had a spin here, had a disconnect, but the pack not really getting too disconnected this time. Yeah, little gaps here and there, but there's not massive gaps. And really the focus falls now on, can you keep the car going in a straight line? And when do you come into the pits?
Well, from a couple of the onboards I've seen people getting a bit squirrely, so it's getting greasy. I was going to say like someone's hair, but, you know, I don't know who has greasy hair. As Clerpier is somehow facing backwards between turn 7s and 8. I don't know how he spun it there, but he keeps it going. No damage by the looks of it. But yeah, it's looking a bit greasy. I reckon, I don't know when these people pit or when they pit, so we'll just see what happens. It looks maybe a couple of laps, but It doesn't even. There's no spray yet coming up, so.
Yeah, I mean, right
Looks
on the onboard, there's a
fine.
couple of drops appearing on the screen. It's not. It looks worse than it is. It is the way I would describe it, and we know what the rain physics can be like in the game. They can be a little bit lackadaisical, shall we say, with how they do it. Aghast Alloy and Real DC choosing to come in, however. And you know what? Looking from Jamie and Cavolis' onboard, it looks worse than it is. But it also looks better than it is. And you know what does look good though? This little battle there. Jamie, Kaelin and Cavolis all getting very close. Kaelin getting looser than a goose on ice. Having a bit of a squirrely moment there through turn 3. Aizen says, "Hello boys, I'm here to party too. I'm going to check yous out." Get it because he's Czech. There's a little bit of contact with the two in front. A little bit of wheel banging. Nothing too untoward. A little tap for Kaelin though from Aizen. And luckily all 4 cars going in the same direction. Cavolis clapping his fingers. Rubbing his hands. Doing something in joy because he's managed to break a gap. Real DC though out on the intermediates, and I'm going to keep an eye on the delta, I suppose. 23.5.
Alloy has left, right? And I'm just going to say this. I think he's left because he accidentally picked mediums instead of inters.
Oh no, he's back.
So I think he's had a... Oh, is it? He's back. Okay, I thought he had a little rage quit there.
I think it's just connection issues. I know Indian Jesus, a name that'll be well known to a lot of you that have been here for a while, did always have a couple of connection issues with Core Paradox. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of that as well. Cars, they're sliding at some points and then they're not. Danjo, Diddy, Little One, King 5 Panda, and Cavolis, and Jamie, and Kaelin, and everybody and their mother all calling at a time. Let's get the intermediates on, let's go. We'll see how things pan out. Very impressed though from everybody though. Not a single speeding in the pit lane, which it is a tricky pit entry. It's a tricky pit exit as well, especially if you're that last car on the grid. It just kind of throws you out there. But intermediates then, I haven't seen a message. DRS disabled.
Huh.
There we go. The speak of the devil and she will arrive. Yeah, I was kind of wondering there, like what's going on, but yeah, DRS then disabled. So that does really affirm what the drivers. I jinxed it, man.
Commentator.
I jinxed it. I'm sorry, Aloy. I am so sorry.
Poor August, man. I still can't see it.
He's only two positions off the points, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, he's got that 10 seconds. Yes, he's in last place. And yes, he's a pit stop extra and everybody in a little bit of drift. But still, point can still be
lost. The thing is, right, I wonder, could people have stayed out a lap longer? Because honestly, it doesn't look that bad. There's not really much spray.
See, you maybe know me, and probably, in fact, somebody a bit cleverer than us and a bit maybe sadder than us might know, but does the DRS disabled, is it the conditions or is it the tyres?
Conditions.
So it is the condition. I think then no, because DRS disabled just as, I suppose you'd be halfway through the lap, so it's whether it all comes down to that last sector. And I suppose the last sector, the second half of the second sector, and the last sector, it's it would all depend on that. Tell you what, it's Jamie's looking. They're going to rename it to It's Racy, and Kaelin Bartlett. There you go. Absolutely. How many wings do you want, sir? None of them at all. Give me all the straight line speed you can muster. Flying past Jamie, flying past Cavolis, and up into P5. I thought it was Jamie was going to be making that move there, but not Kaelin. Swooping in from 7th up to 5th makes it stick. And now Jamie going to have a little look down the inside into turn 2 on Cavolis. Notes from the stewards room: potential investigation into illegal pit entries. Drama could be coming after the race. Ooh. One of the stewards hot on the stream, hot on the eyes. I was too busy looking to see what was going on, but you never know. So drama post-race potentially, Jack. We could be telling a completely different story to the results by the end, but we'll discount that. We'll not worry about that. We'll just we'll just ride on board and see what happens. It's a little bit trickier now to overtake, of course. No DRS. And the guys that are faster in the corners are going to be faster overall around here, but when the corners are as wide as an F1 car, fair play to you if you can make a move stick.
Yes. But obviously no DRS, so it's literally just a battle of skill at this point. Back in the early or 90s and 2000s. Actually, just from 1950 to 2000s. Just a battle of skill, wits, and who's got the cojones to make passes. Like Ayrton's if you no longer go for a gap, that doesn't exist. You're no longer a racing driver.
Exactly. The gaps round here, they are, well, they're skinnier than me, let's put it that way. So you have to really be a bit brave. Aizen not being so brave, maybe just not carrying a lot of speed around them final two corners, or maybe just being too brave or too cautious, you could say, with his wing setup, losing out to Cole Paradox and Tobes. I don't know if that was just a cautious or maybe a half slide through them bends, or if it is just purely setup. And I suppose this is where, you know, having them lower wings, it can be a benefit in that sense. There's no DRS to pull you along, so it is just a pure battle of who's got the higher top end. There's no outside the turn, other than your ERS, of course, which these drivers have been managing throughout the race. But then on the downside is, you've got to do 90-degree corners with low wings, in the wet, with walls high within. You could pretty much reach out and touch them if you really, really wanted to. So, okay, we're seeing that same balance, but in a different dynamic here. And maybe we've seen one part of it here. Aizen does look to be hanging on really, really close, even with the little bit of dirty air, with the tricky corners. Pretty close to the back of Tobes, so maybe running slightly higher wings than Toby Tobes, as I sometimes like to call him. But, I mean, it's a long game as well. We've got 6 laps to go. If, you know, you're saying the famous phrases about Senna, you know, you don't go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. If you have to finish first, first you have to finish. And 14 of the 15, they're about to do that so far. I jumped on board, so used to the DRS around this trip being crucial. I jumped on board with King 5 Panda, waiting for an overtake. As little one got them anti-roll bars in his setup, set up nicely. That car swinging about like a wacky waving tube flailing. I got that word wrong, but you know the big arm guys. You know what I mean, Jack?
Yeah.
You know the
fucking language.
There you go. There's your one of the season. That's us. We've hit our allowance. I've said it once. You've said it once. That's our allowance for the season.
Wacky inflatable man.
Wacky waving arm flailing tube man.
Yeah,
that's the one.
There you go.
King 5 Panda, though, while we were waffling on, giving us a great battle alongside Little One, Ethan, and name unknown. I don't actually know King 5 Panda's first name. Does move in behind though, just to settle into position.
It might be Kung.
Kung King 5 Panda.
No, Kung Fu Panda.
But it's 5 Panda.
Kung 5 Panda.
Maybe it's High 5 Panda.
Maybe it's just Poe.
Maybe it's John. Who knows? I know who somebody's first name is. It's Jamie and it's Kaylin, and they're battling off in the background there. Wuban is on the tail of Aizen once more. Aizen get dropped a little bit by Tobes here, who's on that reclimb up. Clarper going to continue his yellow flags. Sorry. Yeah. Speak of the devil. I was just about to say he's going to continue his role of not scoring points, and well, he's continued his role of binning it in the wall. Wing damage the lot. Thanks for coming. Aghast Alloy. Looks like only one more position and you could be in the money here, son. Diddy though, losing touch with Danjo. That DRS maybe playing a crucial role to his ability to keep up with his brother. So that 2.4 second gap really stretching out, and the more Danjo can do now, the more relaxed he can take the rest of the race. He can afford to break that 50 metres earlier. Make sure he makes the corner, because to finish first you have to finish. King 5 Panda though, Little One, they don't care about any of that. They're here for a ding-dong battle. Little One holding it down the inside despite Panda going around the outside, and in fact getting a better run through the mid part of the corner, managing to get the tyres down the tread on the track, and that's giving an inside run to turn 2. A little bit of contact there. We got the confetti effect, but I think maybe if it was standard damage, we might have seen wing damage there. But hey ho, as they say, you can only haha with a haha you have. I can't see the rest of that line, but those that know will know. Jamie then on the back of Kaelin, who's sliding about like Bambi and Ice. I can't remember what I said. I think I said something weirder earlier on. Cluppy Art into the pits though to fix that broken wing. I was going to say he could go for fastest lap, but it would have been set in the dry, so that is a no-go show for himself. And these are 2 little battles then, really. Then we've got Jack. We've got the battle for 3 and the battle for 5. We've also got a battle for 10, but the nicest way possible, I'm going to look at the battle for the podium and occasionally the battle for P5. We might dip in with these in a Wuvan every now and again if things continue to hot up. Cool Paradox though, I think is slightly closing in Cavolis. Tobes is kind of holding pace compared to Cavolis, slipping to Cool Paradox, just that natural swing and throw, you could say. And get my Kung Fu King Phi Panda on there. Speaking of him, can he get a run on Little One this time? Second, a gap. And maybe Little One's used a little bit more battery, maybe just saved a bit of the tyres, got them in that nice range again and pulled away. So there you go, there's one of them battles. I was piping up and getting ready for 3 laps, 4 laps action, going. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, at least we still have Jamie and Kaelin able to battle quite closely, although Kaelin, I was seeing when they were battling, Kaelin and Jamie, Kaelin was using his ES to stay ahead, and Kaelin reached up to about 200 miles per hour. Jamie was just kind of going 190. So Jamie's definitely using a higher downforce setup, which is working since it is raining. So it's working in corners, but less on the long straight, which is I think a kilometre long, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less.
Well,
as Kaelin hits the wall.
It's but the track is the track. Hold on, let me see the track distance.
Also, Kaelin's got damage.
That maybe explains why he's having the burn, because he's having to get ahead. And well, this could be spicy then. The track length is 6 kilometres long, so it's probably a couple of kilometres when you take in, like, the track's near enough just up one side, down the other. There's a little bit extras with the turns and all that, you know, but it's an engineering problem. I'll get my protractor out here and I'll work out the measurements. I think the straight is a couple of kilometres. But back to the things that actually matter, not my waffle. King Phi Panda is back in half a second of Little One, and like you say, Kaelin's got damage, and he's only got 2/10 to the car behind. As the late, not the late great, but the no longer with us in the community, great Pheasant Plucker, or Danny Fandango, used to say, interessante.
I'm
Googling this.
Andalay.
It's 2.2 kilometres. There you go.
Yeah, I was just looking it up there. 2.2 kilometres. That's a long straight.
It's twice as long as the Kemmel Straight of the Belgian Grand Prix and the main straight of the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. Fun facts with Jack and Scott. Did you know that the moon
less
is,
10 minutes away from each other, still haven't seen each other?
Yeah, no, I still haven't not seen a little ginger kid. I don't really go hunting them. Another fun fact, the moon has a smaller diameter than Australia. Fun fact with Jack and Scott. There you go. Jamie then, not quite able to make a move. We should probably get back to the racing here, Jack. Not quite able to make a move on Kaelin. King Phi Panda closing up the Little One though, and Cool Paradox closing up to Cavolis. Aizen and Wuban stretching apart a little bit now, so it's that battle's kind of gone. And Dusted August Alloy though, 26 seconds off, and he includes his 10-second penalty of the points. But let's not forget who's in front of him. It's Mr. Spinny himself. It's real DC. So anything could happen. Let's be real. Anything can happen. We're going to sing that. We'll get the karaoke going one time. By the way, big shout out to Christian, aka Rotation, giving us lots of Lots of talking in the chat. That's what I like to see. Man's bigging it up for us. The cojones. I don't know what that was in reference to. But he says...
Because I said the cojones.
Ah. And then he also said we're a family-friendly channel. And then a word that I can't say, so... Thanks, Christian. Love you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Jamie then right on the gearbox of Kalen, pushing him up the straight like a carer pushing an old man in a wheelchair. Family friendly. Losing out though, Kalen definitely got that higher top speed, and that is what is really costing Jamie here, because he just can't. He's got a motorised scooter, does Kalen. He just can't quite get alongside and can't use the superior pace in the corners. You can hear his engine, you can see his throttle. He's sort of, I don't know, is this mind games? I think he's got the pace to get clear of him. I think if he just got the bite point right and got out of turn one a bit more clean and a bit more effectively, he could have been alongside turn 2, forced Kalen onto that outer line where you really don't want to be, and then maybe had a bit of a send. And are we just seeing mind? I think we are. I think we're seeing mind games here from Jamie and from King 5 Panda. I think they're both just hanging it back as the gas still exits the building once more. He was catching DC, funnily enough. But I think I've seen a little bit of mind games here, like, nah, you cut through the water, you just puddle on, I'll get you next lap. Speaking of next lap, it's the last lap, Jack.
Yeah. And that was really, really pissing it down, as we would say in Scotland.
I'll let you off for that one. That's borderline swearing, young man.
It's borderline swearing, but it's a phrase we say in Scotland. So, also, fun fact with Jack and Scott: when you fall asleep in your dreams, it means that your brain fell asleep so fast, or too fast, it tried sending a signal to see if you're still alive. Fun facts with Jack and Scott.
Jake, alright, Jake.
Jack.
Jake. Final lap then. Danjo is going to start it with us. We'll cut back to him as he crosses the line to assume win this race, all being well. Diddy 3.5 seconds behind. And a big gap to Little Juan and King 5 Panda, though. Interestingly, if it ends as it is, it's the exact same top 3, just in a slightly different order as last week. So this is an insight to our title contenders. King 5 Panda, Kalen Bartlett, they're all going to have a little go and try and get their name in the mix over the next course of the 6 remaining weeks, which hopefully, all being well, myself and Jack will be here to commentate for you. Cool Paradox moves up into P7 into turn 1 on the start of the final lap. He's got about 3 miles of defence to do to keep that position. Panda then, is it time for the move? Little One defend in the middle of the track, the slower inside line, and you know, it's maybe not the most funnest racing. I know I'd be getting annoyed in my instance. Kalen probably doing the same to Jamie. Just holding that line, making your car as wide as you can, make it like a Tonka truck, and just park it in the middle. Jamie though getting a nice little run through that chicane at the middle of the track there, Jack. And somehow, for all this defensive driving, the 4 of these guys have came together. If there was DRS, this would be the ultimate game of chicken now. And you really don't want to be in the front of that instance. In this instance, you really do. And Little One in command at the moment. But, hey, we've seen Kalen's top line speed, Could there be a late run at the podiums? We'll wait and see. I'll let you keep an eye on that battle, Jack. I'm going to ride on board with Danjo as he rounds turn number 20 for the last time. He's 3 seconds up the road from his brother Diddy. The Oxo brothers, as they're slowly becoming known to the community. And it is going to be a double podium for the last week. And it is going to be a provisional at least 1-2 here in Baku. Danjo ahead of Diddy. Let's get back to the battle for P3, 4, 5 and 6. In fact, Panda then side by side with Little One. This is a straight drag race to the line. He is going to sneak the podium ahead of him. Panda beats Little One, Kalen in behind, and Jamie 1.2 behind, losing a little bit of time at the last. Cabolis though, crucially, I missed out, has got ahead of Cool Paradox.
Close finish.
Tighter than toenails. Tobes in P9 then, Aizen in P10. P10, it will be P11 for Wiban. And a point. A solitary point for everybody's second favourite head admin. As Little One has left the session.
He'll still be in fourth.
Yes, right. Well, this makes... Aye. Ethan, if you're listening, pal, please don't leave until the end of the race. Because it messes with things like this and it makes our life a bit difficult. Agast Alloy. I don't think he managed to rejoin after he disconnected the last time. But, truth be told, I'd be tempted to just give him the finish. You know, he's done... Yeah,
he's been unlucky.
Yeah, he's been unlucky. He's had a bit of things. Dan then pointing out that Little One DNF'd shows you how little he's been racing recently. And then Club PR coming home in lucky P13, which is technically P14. So,
Speaking of driver of the day.
Driver of the day, it's a hard one. Because Danjo did a great job up front. And, you know, it's easy to just give it to the race winner. But Jamie ran a good race. You know, he started down last. He played a good game in the strategy call. Got in a good position. So, I'm going to be the outside contender. I'm going to give it to Jamie.
I think I agree with that. I do agree with that. Let's give Jamie the driver of the day. Finishing P6 after qualifying last, but starting P14. Good race from him. Good strategy as well.
Definitely. So there is your results. So the Little One will slide in at P4. This is just going to make it night and day difficult if there is any penalties for the stewards and the results man DC to decide out. But it is Danjo from Diddy from Panda. Little One would then be inserted in P4 ahead of Kaelin, Jamie, who finishes P6 from 14th on the grid. My driver of the day and yours as well. Cavalis, Co-Paradox, Tobes, Azen, Wiban and DC rounding off your points finishers. Agast Ally will then of course drop to 13. Started where he finished. And Club PR, last of the runners in 14th. Wes RS then, our only DNF, causing the safety car. And I'm just trying to tell people to stay in the lobby. Till this point. This is when you can leave. You can leave now. But
yes,
I don't think there's much else for us to really go over here, Jack. Maybe a little look to the future and what is coming up in the next few weeks. F1 calendar then. Next week, it's the first of the double headers. Of course, 8 weeks of racing. We're giving you 10 rounds of action. And that includes a double header, Bahrain and Qatar. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, we're going to be racing here till 11 o'clock. Nope, different format, folks. One shot quali, then we do 35% of Bahrain. One shot quali, 35% of Qatar. So that'll be a little bit more intense action for us. You'll have to bear with us that week. That will be... you better be here, Jack. I can't do that myself.
I will be here, don't worry.
That'll be mental. Week after that, normal race, like tonight at Hungary. Round 5, we're at Spain with a mandatory 2-stop. Of course, you missed that last week with us both not being here. Round 6, Australia, normal race. Second back-to-back, same format as the other one, Miami and Vegas, before we head to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium to round off the season and the game as well, as we'll hopefully be back in time for F1 25. But that's all from me, Jack. Anything you want to add, my friend, before we finish off for the evening?
No, I think you've covered everything. It's been a good race, and looking forward to the rest of the season with you, Scott.
Oh, very cute. Very, very cute. No, on a real note, you've hitting on the head. It'll be good action next week, hopefully, and we'll see how things pan out in the first of the double headers. Make sure, though, to check back on Thursday night. You can see myself and Glowstick take to the track around the streets of Baku with our wonderful commentary team of Jamie Morris and CRL Baldy, aka Big Fat Rob. Sorry, Bal, had to get that in there. I've lost my train of thought there. I didn't even mean to go down that route, but it just sort of, it just comes out. Anyway, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, an honour, and a joy. We'll see you all next week as we take to the streets of Bahrain, not the streets, sorry, the circuit of Bahrain and Qatar for the first of our double headers. Enjoy the rest of the evening and have a very, very wonderful night. Cheerio.